only thing you got right was the space diapers.
What do you think about aliens?
I think they're real.
My mom is like, why is my son jerking off all the time?
Slumber parties. We're talking about slumber parties when we were kids.
Slumber parties. There was this one guy. I think they're becoming a thing of the past. I've heard that people aren't letting their kids do that anymore.
I don't know if they happen anymore.
Do you let your kids go to other people's houses?
I mean, my kids aren't old enough. They're like, they spend the night at their grandma's house.
Yeah.
But they're only 6 and 3, so not yet.
Right.
Or 5 and 3.
Right.
So no slumber parties for them.
Do you think you will let them?
Probably. With people that we know.
Right. I just enjoyed them so much.
They were a blast.
They were my life. Going to Jared's house, not having to sleep at a normal time, just staying up
all night
playing whatever. Yeah, that was the other thing too. Is we get together and stay up for the sake of staying up.
Yep,
bro. It's you every week.
Got all these spam people trying to talk to me about getting my money.
Did you know that the iPhone has this
car insurance
feature? Like this is like a button on
I just did that.
Okay.
Anyways, there was this guy, this kid that came over to one of our, we would have slumber parties with like 8 to 12 dudes and one girl who was basically one of the dudes.
Yeah.
And this dude would literally fart on my head.
But I can piece together that this happened.
Ass to head fart on my head. And I was thinking about it the other day, and like in the moment, I would just kind of laugh it off and pretend like it didn't bother me. But then I was driving in the car like yesterday. I was just thinking, what a jerk! Why
was this guy older than us, or was
no?
he?
He was in our grade. I mean, he was in our grade.
How old were we when this happened?
14, 15, something like that.
Oh, that Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lasted 5 minutes and he was gone.
Yeah, he wasn't
I can't remember
part of the group very long. I don't know. I don't know what happened to him.
Well, did you hear about the youth pastor that was doing that kind of thing?
What?
Yeah, this is a real thing.
Okay.
There was a youth minister who would do jokes like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, funny enough, right?
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Okay.
But one time, the first kid at summer camp to fall asleep on the ground in his sleeping bag. And the dude went to fart on the kid, pulled his pants down to fart on him, and he had diarrhea.
Oh my God, that's awful. That's terrible.
On the kid. Okay, this dude immediately resigned, right? So
as he should.
He quit.
Sure, why did you resign? Well, I pooped on a kid. That's awful. I'm glad that never happened to me.
I mean, that
had to be traumatic.
The dude took a risky fart and decided he just...
That's terrible.
Took a diarrhea dump right on this dude's head.
This is week 10 of another podcast. We got me and Donnie here. We've been doing this 10 weeks in a row. Never missed a week, and we'll continue to not miss a week. We, I think officially, it's not just us listening to it anymore.
Yeah.
So, progress. We got some friends out there. If you're listening, you're our friend. It's like we're all hanging out.
It's like we're hanging out.
Our niche is, we're your buds. That's the niche.
Man.
Anyways, I got this game. It's called Hot Takes. And we're going to see what kind of hot takes it has. The point of the game is to pick a hot take, and there's 2 teams, agree and disagree, and you just pick the team that you... But
what if we agree?
Well, then I mean, we're not going to do that part. We're just going to read the hot takes. But if you're going to play it at home, you got the agree and disagree, and whoever has the most on one side gets a point. That's how it is.
Oh, so it's for dividing your family.
Yes, and causing fights.
Hopefully this kind of thing is meta and it actually dissolves the barriers between.
Maybe.
I hope so.
Here's the first one. Throwing up is better than having a fever. What do you like better? Throwing up or having a fever?
You know what? I have really strong genes. I don't get sick much. I'd probably take the fever.
I'd probably take a fever too, because throwing up sucks. People should be compensated extra for their commute to and from work. You should get paid for the miles to go to work and to get home.
Interesting. No.
No?
Should not.
Stick it where it's at?
Yeah, because as the business owner, you didn't pick where they live. They pick to work for you. They could choose their home.
That's right. I guess you could just try to get a apartment close to where you work and solve that problem. Yep. Another one. A British accent automatically makes you more attractive. Well, hello there, Donnie.
No. It does to me, but not. No homo.
No. Do you think overall, if someone talks, their attraction points go up if it's a little bit more on the British side?
Bro, if I was hanging out with, anybody with an interesting accent that isn't like grating, like annoying, bro, yeah, it's interesting. You're like, what's going on with this person? I don't know what them.
Do you think British people think American accents are attractive, or do we just have the least attractive accent?
No, I am under the assumption that we're cool, pretty much everywhere.
You think we're cool?
Anywhere that people don't objectively hate us, like, I don't know, Afghanistan.
Yeah.
I think that American accents are probably seen as these people live a life of freedom, and they get to experience what it's like to be in an affluent place.
Yeah.
I definitely think that. I think that about like Norwegian, like Swedish, like whatever's happening up there in like the westernized part of Eastern Europe. Those cool countries, I'm like, those people are really cool. When I hear one of their accents, I'm like, cool.
I'd like to take a poll and see what a large group of people think about the American accent, and see if it's an attractive one. Because my guess would be no, but that's probably because we're here and we hear it all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to lean towards.
I think they probably find it interesting.
Maybe.
Apparently, French people don't like anybody that speaks anything but French, but I don't know. I imagine they think it's cool.
Let's grab another one.
Okay.
Monday is the worst day of the week.
Nah, that's the day I take off, so.
So Monday is your Sunday?
Monday, yeah.
Nice. And I don't have a normal job, so I don't agree with that either. Animal testing should be banned. These are a little spicy.
No way. You should not ban animal testing. You should not ban animal testing. If you ban animal testing, then you gotta test it on a guy. And I like guys and gals way more than,
Mouse?
Mice.
Mice. That's the one I was looking for.
Bro, I'm full on for animal testing.
Makes sense. You don't have to do it on.
I do feel bad. Look, I do feel bad about. You remember have you seen the images of or the movies of this is the dog they shot into space first? You got a little space outfit on.
No, I haven't seen this.
It sucks for him. He just shoots something. He lived for this long, then died. They know.
Really?
Yeah. And the monkey they sent up there, they shot monkeys up into space.
I think there's still some monkeys in space.
It feels like a joke when you see it. It feels like it's just a joke, but they're like, there's like an astronaut outfit on the monkey. They stick him inside the.
I did a short of that.
You should go whatever. You should definitely link to should show an image of a Google search or a YouTube video. Of
how many monkeys are still in space, or how many monkeys have died being sent?
They probably
to space?
fell out of orbit by now, but I think they got the monkeys. The whole idea was to get the monkey back, not dead. So they probably got the monkeys back.
Let's hope so.
But imagine you're the monkey.
I probably would be like, this is awesome.
They told me I was going to get a bunch of bananas for this.
Can't wait to get back and get those bananas.
What would you feel if you're the monkey, clearly not understanding English? They strap you into the thing.
Probably wouldn't think much. Just be like, ooh, great, sweet. What's this do?
You're going a bazillion miles an hour, going where no monkey's gone before, in space.
I did a
whoa. I'm a floating monkey.
I did a short on that story that you were talking about.
Yeah.
About the astronaut lady that went to kill her boyfriend. Her name was Lisa Novak. I did a little bit of research on it.
Oh, okay, good. Okay. Lisa Novak.
Lisa Novak was her name.
The murdering space shuttle astronaut.
The only comment, it got 100% like rate. No dislikes. But the only comment we got was you said that she drove from New York to Florida.
Yeah.
And the only comment we got was a guy going, "No, it was Houston." The only thing you got right was the space diapers.
Oh, okay.
But
It was Houston. So from where to where?
From Houston to Florida.
That's still a long way.
900 miles.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
I know. Did she? Okay. So, but she got caught, right?
Yeah, she went on to trial for it. The boyfriend never died. I don't know. I didn't see what actually happened at the end, but her name was Lisa Novak. So,
Bro, okay, you're that guy. You have the best story of all time. Everyone's talking about their ex. Like,
Yeah.
oh man, my ex is so bad, dude. She's so crazy. Like, no, bro, my ex is crazy.
So crazy. You know what she
my
did?
ex, 900-mile drive from Houston to Cape Canaveral or whatever it is in Florida with a diaper on to kill me. That guy's like, whew, glad she's gone.
well, you're crazy. It's just like keyed your car or something.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, I have an ex who keyed my car. It was my sports car. Made me
What's your
sad.
sports car?
Sports car's gone, girl's gone, everything's good.
Everything's fine. How was your week? Did you do anything exciting?
This week was really good. I did do something exciting. In fact, I didn't even ask you if I could do this. I want to plug my music.
Okay.
We've been doing this a few episodes. The Lonelies, my rock band,
Yep.
released a song. For
Nice.
the first time in 5 years, we released a song. The reason why I chose to release it was because we hadn't released anything in quite some time, but we have a back catalog of some music that we made, and it just doesn't fit what the
Your
current
album?
the current album is going to be. So we thought, you know what, it's been a while, but let's test what it's like to release music. Let's see what does and doesn't work. So we put it out. It's a song about my car that got stolen.
Oh, really? Bruce?
Yeah. And so I'm proud of it. It's somewhere in between what we used to sound like on the first album and what this new album is going to sound like. It's pretty campy, and it doesn't take itself seriously at all, which is what I wish Lonelies would have been the whole time.
Yep.
You know, we started off trying to be seriously cool band, and now it's like, no, just do fun stuff. It's a fun song, so
Nice.
yeah, it's
What
called.
was the reception? Have you gotten any feedback?
Well, we've been looking at the analytics on it. We hadn't really taken care of our following. You know, when we first launched the first album, we had, maybe 40, 50 people listening a day on Spotify. Of course, that dwindled off
Because
a
there's been
lot.
no new content.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now I'm like, oh, okay. When we're doing this podcast, I'm starting to learn we have to have content all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people will forget about you.
Right.
Even if it's not like perfect, you still should put something out there, and that's what a lot of people do. They strive for perfection to the point where they don't actually make any step forwards to what they're trying to get done. And I've done that too, like a ton.
Sure. Well, that's why
just
there was
waiting for the right moment, or waiting until it feels just right before you actually start releasing content into the world. Quantity and quality, it's got to be about. There's got to be a balance, because if you just keep waiting for it to be perfect, it's never gonna happen.
I think the funny part about trying for quantity instead of quality is that you get better faster by doing quantity. So what's funny about that is the Lonelies has a Dropbox folder with like hundreds of demos in it.
Really?
Like the Lonelies has so many possible songs. There's many songs. It's not about that. It's about finishing and putting it out. Finishing and putting it out. I wish that I had just been finishing songs and putting them out for the last, we started in 2009. So how long has that been?
It's like what?
23 now.
Yeah, that's
14 years.
Yeah.
It's been 14 years worth of like ideas that just kind of either had legs or didn't, but then nobody knows. The internet only knows about the 10 songs that came out on the first album and this one single. There's 11 Lonely songs, but there's 14 years of work, in here, and then like it's stuffed away in some Dropbox folder and on different hard drives
that no one can appreciate because it's just sitting on your hard drive.
I didn't do it, and well,
I think a lot of artists do that now, where they just they like trickle out songs every once in a while, not only just to make sure they stay relevant, but also to test out what does well and what doesn't. I see a lot of artists, especially nowadays with social media, just releasing songs all the time, and some of them might not make it on the album or their finished album, but like they get it. They, like you said, as they do it, they learn from it and get better from just doing it.
Yeah,
and getting feedback from people's reception of it.
I don't think anybody who sets out to make art that's like transcendent, that's like this big thing that everybody loves, and oh my gosh, this amazing thing. No one who sets out to do that, I don't think that they actually really usually end up hitting the nail on the head. I think what happens is when people are honest with their artwork and they just make what they like.
Exactly. Authentic to themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is more likely to do well with people, because people can smell bullshit from miles away. So I'm such a Beatles fan, and I've watched everything, right? And the Beatles are very outspoken about not liking their own music. Like Paul was a big driver for Sgt. Pepper, and that's the record that we liked when we were kids. We listened to that all the time.
Yep.
That's like what we listened to. In fact, I was listening to it on the way over here because it reminded me of you. But Ringo was outspoken about like, I didn't like doing that one.
I only like Yellow Submarine.
Yeah, right.
Because I wrote it.
I don't think he even wrote it. He just
I thought
they let him
his.
sing it. They were like, here, sing this one.
I thought that was his song. I remember listening to it and thinking, this sounds like Ringo.
But people who judge their work on what they do and don't like later, which is really funny, because John was like, man, all of our records sound like crap. We could redo them and make them sound so much better now. And that was in the 80s. Nowadays, people would be like, you cannot touch these albums. They have to stay exactly the way they sounded.
Right.
Like people are trying to preserve the old sound, and spending thousands of dollars on plugins and effects pedals and everything else to try to capture what it used to sound like in the 60s. So to them, they were just making music as fast as they could because they didn't have a choice. And they were just trying new ideas, and they were like, we'll judge it after it's out. If we think it's okay, let's try it.
That probably played a big part in why they were so good.
Yeah, it was also why they were so prolific. Every album was different. Every album was trying something new. And also something that's, people talk about the Beatles being the best. I think they are the best, but their hit to miss ratio is like 1 in 10. They ended up releasing over 300 songs, but only 30 of them ended up number one hits in the US. So like 1 in 10.
1 in 10.
And I would say most definitely, if you compare their first release to their very last one, there's way better songs on the last album than on the first one.
Right. You
So
can tell a difference in quality based off their quantity.
Well, here's a
crazy.
question for you. So the Beatles went out, I feel like, on the top, and they quit
Yep.
while they were the best. Do you think that's the move?
If that's what made them happy, I think I would go back to what you said previously. Just do what makes you happy. Even if your best stuff isn't at the end of your career, if you're still doing it and loving it, then keep going. That's what I think.
I was watching some Dave Chappelle thing last night where he got honored by his high school. His high school is like, we want to name this building after you. Right? So he comes to accept the award and he gives this big speech or whatever. Ends up actually not naming the building after himself, turning it down.
Oh, really?
But he said, when I'm dead, you can call it that. I'll call it the Dave Chappelle building or whatever. But like, he turned it down because he wanted to make the building about the right to free expression. It's like the Center for Free Expression or whatever. It's free speech or whatever.
That's cool.
Kind of thing he was about. But I say that because I feel like a guy like Dave released those Netflix specials, and he probably, by all the metrics you can measure, is probably the most popular comedian
Right.
in the world.
And he feels like the most real too. Like you don't
Yeah.
feel like you're getting you're getting authentic content.
Yeah.
Content that is displaying what he actually feels about stuff.
But you know what's wild about Dave is that he did Chappelle's Show, and he did 2 seasons of it, and it was crazy, or 3 seasons. I can't
Yeah.
remember how many seasons he made of Chappelle's Show, and it was the funniest thing that had ever happened.
Yeah.
And then he turned down all the money and disappeared
For a long time.
for like, what, a decade?
It was a while.
And then he started doing the Netflix things again.
Yep.
He just went back to doing stand-up in the clubs.
Oh, really?
That's all he did.
During those years?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well,
He's just doing what he likes, it
Yeah,
sounds
he
like.
quit this giant thing because they were going to try to control him. And he said, well, I'm not going to take the money then. And then he went back to just doing stand-up. Well, at first he like left and went to Africa for a long time. And then when he came back, he just kept doing stand-up because he liked it.
Yeah, it's good.
And then when he knew he was hot again, he did the Netflix specials.
Yep.
But like his career is actually just 2 giant things,
Yeah.
which was like giant show, quit, got amazing again.
A lot of people consider him like the the Michael Jordan of comedy.
I would say
And I would agree with that. He's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love him.
I think he's probably about as good as it gets.
Yep.
Whether you do or don't like any of his opinions, you gotta be like amazed by his skill as an orator.
Yeah.
He's one of the most amazing.
He's a good storyteller too.
Yeah.
He's hilarious. What do you got there?
Well, this is a game that we used to. I've been playing a lot recently. It's called the Higi game, and it's all about asking people great questions.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't really have points. Nobody wins, but every one of these cards has a couple of questions or 3 questions on it, and you get to choose somebody in the room to ask a question to. There's a lot of different things, but they're usually like pretty emotionally driven. So like they're not small talk. You
Nice.
know. What are the like? Say this is one of the questions on this card. What are the 2 most important things for people to be happy?
My opinion, doing something that you love.
Yeah.
Because if you have to wake up every single day and go do something that you hate with the majority of your time, that's gonna absolutely produce some negative emotions. And then also surrounding yourself with people that you genuinely like and want to be like.
So community and meaningful work.
Community and meaningful work, yeah. Every time I've ever had a 9-to-5 job, I've absolutely hated it.
Yeah.
And I have not enjoyed what I do most of the time. So yeah, I think it's worth it to take a bet out on yourself and try to do what you actually want to do. I think you're going to find most of your happiness in that, and then also finding people that support your risk that you're taking to go for whatever it is that you want to do, and having them surround you. Because if you're being by yourself sucks, and doing something you hate sucks. So pretty important pieces, I think, to have a happy life.
What is the best thing you've done to develop like good community, like the other half of that?
I mean, I'm not perfect. I've made several mistakes, but I try to be there for people in like big moments and in negative moments. You know what I mean? Like, be the guy that people can count on no matter what's going on in their life. Be the guy that can be there to cheer them on when something great happens, and be the guy that they can come to whenever they're dealing with something. So I try to do that. I'm not perfect at it. Made several mistakes, like I said, but I try to do that.
I feel like you do something else that maybe you don't even realize that you do, but you have used things that everybody likes in your friend group to keep them together. And we both actually do this hilariously. It's almost like whenever we were young and we learned together, we went our separate ways around our college years.
Yep.
Whenever
you
we
went to
were
college,
20s.
I didn't.
You made a great decision. But we both took that skill, and you have this game night that has never stopped.
Yep. That was born in COVID,
Oh, it was a COVID thing.
2020.
Yeah, so it's been 3 years of the game night, never ending. But before then, we used to do that all the time. I feel like we were always, it was either Cody's house or it was, it was somewhere.
we did.
Yeah,
would in
we
high
still
school.
did that, but
Yeah.
you took it and you standardized it. You said, this is what's going to happen. Everybody's invited. If you want to be here, you're welcome. And I'm even in the Discord, even though I've gone one time. I've logged in and played one time. I don't have the equipment to play the kind of games that you guys play, but the game night, I also have mine. I have my Monday night thing.
Yeah.
And
watch
I started
World War
that.
II movies.
Yeah. We just whatever will get people together.
Yeah.
And I think facilitating that helps. I think that's what we've seen makes genuine community around us, is finding things that tie people together.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I'm glad you brought this up. This is actually really interesting. My wife, she's she knows that every Wednesday night is game night, and she still doesn't quite understand it because she's like, okay, so you guys are all gonna get on headsets, in your own houses,
right,
play video games for sometimes 5 to 6 hours at a time. You go, yes.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
How do you guys do that? Well, how do you fall asleep to Friends every night?
Yeah, right.
It's the great thing about this is, if we didn't have this, we wouldn't just be calling each other on the phone,
right,
talking for hours. Mm-hmm. We get our updates in life through game night because we're all there piled together asking questions. Oh, Jake, how's your kid that was born this week? Casey, how are you feeling? I heard you got COVID recently. You doing better?
Yeah.
Ben, how was your trip with your wife? The happy 2-year anniversary. We get all that information during game night.
Yes.
And it really has brought us all closer together. It's created situations where when certain people get married, they are now groomsmen because they built a relationship through game night.
Oh, yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, in fact, this crew that you're talking about, we've all been in each other's weddings.
Yeah.
Basically, everybody only sees each other when somebody gets married.
Yeah.
Or when, some big event happens, we all end up back in town together or whatever. That's you can almost thank the artists that made the games,
the content,
for bringing people together,
for giving us hours and hours and hours of conversation together and memories being built over the last few years.
It's this way with D&D or other kinds of games. You can't really explain to people those memories,
right?
Fully. They'd have to have been there.
They gotta be there to really know what you're talking about.
I had one of my best memories. I just want to tell you about this because I recently started playing it again. I don't play games often. I have things that I really love doing that give me the same sort of joy.
I really don't either, other than
game night. But that's because you get to hang out with your friends. I have actually 2 kind of social events during the week, but it's Wednesday nights is hanging out with Randy and that crew. And in
doing
Josh.
D&D?
Yeah, that's
Nice.
we don't play D&D anymore. We kind of got sick of doing that, but we always get together though.
Nice.
But this game story, right? We were playing Fortnite. Okay, Fortnite's dumb, but with the right people, the voice chat's on, so we're all having a good time. It's not about being awesome at Fortnite,
right?
It's about
just hanging out together.
Yeah, hanging out together. And there's a mechanic in the game where you can kneel, right? And the kneeling thing, football, or you're crouching to shoot. But what's funny is that we were all 4 on the top of a hill, picturesque, And I was like, okay, guys, here's the plan. And I just kneeled my guy. It's just the perfect, it looked like we were in a football huddle and I was going to say the play. And the moment was so funny at the time. It was just that is the spark of creativity. It had happened and it was funny to everybody. We were busted out laughing. And it could only happen if you were there. You would have only understood how funny that was if you were there.
Right.
But another time, I remember, the song that plays on Forrest Gump whenever they're in the helicopters in Vietnam?
Yeah,
it's a Fortunate Son.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I thought that was so funny that song existed and that everybody makes helicopter jokes about it. Anytime there's a helicopter, like out comes that song. And they'd put helicopters in Fortnite. So one time, I thought, this is great. I'm going to do this. I texted Jason and I said, you have to get on the game right now. And he's like, okay, fine. So he gets on the game and I load it up on my phone and I get it ready and I have it all the way up and I get in the helicopter. As soon as we start the game, I get in the helicopter and I go to him and I was like, I flew to his location, I landed it and I said, get in, Jason, and I pressed play. Right? And so then he's like, oh, cool. And he gets in the helicopter and we're flying the helicopter in the song, right? And we fly it right into the most populated part of the map where everybody is fighting. We crash it into a house, kill everyone in the house, and win the game before the song ends.
Wow,
it was like
awesome.
It was the most perfect that you could. You could call Jason and ask him about this. It was the funniest thing that could have happened.
I was expecting you guys to play the song, get up in the air, and instantly just blow up. Or
No.
something.
I thought it was like the song is playing. I ended up putting it in my shirt with my pop socket, pointing it at the microphone, and then we're killing it.
So motivated by the song.
Yeah, it was like we were pumped up, and then we won.
That's awesome.
So it was those are these kind of moments that it seems like, oh, well, the video games don't have any value. Maybe Lauren doesn't understand or whatever. But they are, they're real memories.
Yeah,
they have real value.
Memories.
I'll never forget both, all right, here's the plan.
Yep.
And then helicopters. Yeah.
There's one time we were with a couple buddies. We were playing GTA. It's kind of a similar story.
Yeah.
We played. This is GTA 4, so there really was nothing you could do other than run around, grab weapons and armor, and then just run away from the cops. So we were super wanted. Got in a helicopter, and we were doing our best to stay alive. And the chopper was starting to go down, and so I was like, Casey, jump out! He jumps out, and I'm trying to hold off the cops, and the chopper is literally about to explode. I'm like, okay, I'll jump. So I decide to jump, and as I'm jumping, I'm right here. The helicopter explodes and hits my body, but I'm still alive. And Casey is looking up at it as it happens, and he's like, holy crap, Jared! That was awesome!
Did you die?
No, I lived. I jumped out at just the right time. The chopper exploded. It was literally like a movie, like a scene from Mission Impossible or something.
Yeah.
But that memory is been burned into my brain because of Casey's reaction to that happening.
Yeah, sure.
That was so awesome!
Oh,
Now it's a core memory. I really think that it's important that if you're in a dating or married or whatever, that you maintain a relationship with your friends. Because then you have a balance. You don't become so reliant on or maybe clingy to the person that you're dating, and you have another outlet to talk about fart jokes or war movies or something.
Right.
With your other person,
have you ever tried
to be really compatible, but you're not going to be compatible with everything. And so it's good to find a balance across friends and partnership or relationships with somebody.
Well, I think that's one of the reasons why. I heard somebody say the other day, your best friend, you're truly your best friends. You might see them once a year.
Right.
You know what I mean? If you don't go somewhere else and live a life somewhere else, and you don't charge up and meet your own needs, then you can't be really good for each other.
Right.
And I think that's with every relationship, but most especially romantic ones. You're most interesting because you have something to bring to the table, and if you stop going to the well, wherever that was, literally it's I gotta go get tanked up hanging out with the boys. Right. I gotta go do whatever it is that keeps me sane, so then when I come back home,
your best self.
Yeah. Or whenever me and the gal are out on the town, we have something to talk about because I lived a life outside of the relationship.
Right.
For sure. And I had a question for you because I feel like you've been wanting to talk about it, low key. It's complete diversion from what we were talking about earlier. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Whatever.
Didn't want to wreck your train of thought.
Nope.
But
Train of thought was at the end.
We
at
haven't.
the station.
There's no tracks left. Brain is empty.
Brain done.
I guess that's the end. We've never talked about this, and we don't even talk about this ever with each other anyways, but I figured we should have this conversation. Jared, what do you think about aliens?
I think they're real.
Okay.
I think they exist.
I knew you would have some wild opinion about this.
I think they absolutely exist.
Okay.
What do you think?
No. I want to hear everything you think about aliens.
Well, I mean, the first story that comes to mind, most recent one, is the one where the Mexican government came out and said, hey, we've got this alien body here, and we're going to do a press release and show you all this alien body. Did you see this? Have you seen this at all?
The Mexican, the actual government of Mexico is like, we're ready to show this guy.
We're ready to show you this alien corpse that we've found.
Yes.
And they showed it, and it just looked like a piñata. Like
Right.
paper mache alien.
Right.
Wasn't very convincing, but
Right.
that didn't defer my belief that there's actually something out there.
Why not? Why didn't that? Defer?
Well, I think they were maybe just wanting to be the first ones there, you know? So they're like, let's put something together.
Quick, get that piñata. Let's wrap it up and
Ready. Put something together, make it look like an alien. All right, let's do a press release. America got to the moon first. We're going to show the first alien. Something like that. I don't know.
That's my brain thinks insane things about aliens.
There's so much space out there, and with all these new telescopes that we've got that are able to like see farther and farther and farther, scientists are discovering new planets that are maybe
in the spot.
habitable.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I probably butchered that word, but
Yeah.
habitable.
No, you did it. You got it.
Habitable. Okay.
Yeah.
So if that's true, there's got to be something out there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so far away that we couldn't get it. We couldn't get to those places even in our own lifetime unless we can figure out how to travel at light speed. But still, why wouldn't there be? It's so big. It's so massive. There's got to be life out there.
I agree. There seems like there should be.
Do you recently agree? Have you lived most of your life thinking that
No,
there's
I have
no
lived
way there's aliens?
in complete fear of aliens my entire life because we had the X-Files. Those were coming out.
What's that movie with Tim Allen?
I was genuinely
Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
I kind of picture aliens like that. Like they're watching us, watching our shows and stuff, and maybe they're like, these humans are stupid.
Yeah, if they watch our TV, then we are like royally effed in the A. like there's no way. Sorry to use harsh letters, but
excuse me. But anyways, your thoughts on aliens?
Well, it seems like there's a lot of stuff coming out recently. From whatever YouTube keeps serving me, it's like we're just like this close to being like, yeah, no,
There's aliens.
yeah, like we've got the ships, like they're right
We've
here.
got the pictures. I mean, Mexico has a corpse.
I mean, our explosion of technology in the last 100 years is
Pretty crazy.
pretty suspect.
Pretty crazy.
I would believe that we like one of the drunk aliens like crashed their ship. Oh shit! And then we got it, and we were like, "Whoa!
Yep.
Fiber optics! Whoa! The internet! Or whatever. Telecommunications, satellites, like whatever." Part of me kind of thinks that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm open to the idea. I have one of those I want to believe posters in my house. From the from the X-Files.
Yep.
I would like to believe that they're real. Clearly, if they are real, they don't want anything to do with us.
Or maybe they're waiting for the right moment. I don't know.
I think that, I think if aliens are real, they look at us like we look at chimps in the zoo throwing shit at each other.
Maybe.
Like they're like, bro, I'm not getting in the cage. You gonna get in the cage? No, I'm not gonna get in that cage. Look, they're throwing shit at each other. Like they were shitting in their hands and throwing it at each other. I'm not going down there. Well, me neither, man. Like we can watch them.
We can watch them.
Oh, they built nukes. Shit, they built nukes. Oh, fuck.
We got
to stop them from doing that. I've heard that there is a lot of I've heard of military stories around the nuclear sites where they're getting ready to launch one or they're testing one and the aliens come by and shut it down.
Yeah,
I've heard that happens.
I've heard some conspiracies or whatever, or potential true stories about stuff like that.
I want to believe the aliens are like, stop.
Don't do that.
Stop.
Bad idea.
Don't hit the no.
You're gonna turn your Earth into Mars. All right.
Yeah. What if the aliens aren't aliens? They're just really good us's.
No, I think that's a possibility. Like just different humans on a different planet. Maybe a multiverse or something. Yeah. I don't know, but I'm open to way more ideas than I was as a kid. Like when I was a kid, and do you know Jingle All the Way? Have you seen that movie?
Yeah.
Turbo Man had a jetpack. I remember watching that movie, thinking, well, jetpacks are never going to happen.
Yeah.
And here we are, 2023.
Oh, some guys got
jetpacks have totally happened. So, I mean, at this point...
It sucks that they're not like everyone has one.
Yeah,
That'd be
maybe.
awesome.
I mean, another 50 or 60 years, we're probably going to be our grandkids are going to be driving around in flying cars and jetpacks. And
I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't think flying cars? It's already kind of happening.
We could have already done it a long time ago.
They just got to make it to where the AI is smart enough to do it for us.
That's what it is. It's the traffic problem.
Yeah.
As soon as the AI is smart enough to make the flying cars work, it'll work. But... for now, it would be the most chaotic skies ever. You could never land an airplane if everyone was had their own little airplane.
There's got to be a lot of infrastructure put in place, but I still think it's totally going to happen. I mean, we didn't used to back in 100 years ago. They didn't have highways. They had to come up with a system and and speed limits and all that stuff. And
so flying cars, man, flying cars existing would be you remember Star Wars, the prequels. George Lucas had all of the spaceships flying in little highways.
Yep, in the sky.
In the sky.
Yeah.
So, do you think that's probably what that would be
probably
about?
something like that, right?
Bro,
Eventually,
people would get killed all the time. Adding the up and down dimension to the left.
I'm sure
and
there's
right.
going to be a lot of fatalities at the beginning of it. I mean, there's been a lot of with Elon Musk's
Can you
self-driving
imagine drunk driving an airplane?
No,
that's going to happen.
It's probably going to happen. I mean, it's already happened. I'm sure it's already happened.
People are going to be today, drunk driving flying Corvette owner destroys Boeing 757 with 300
There was an old
people
story
in it.
about a pilot who was a commercial pilot who, I don't know what airline he worked for, but there was footage of him going up to his gate, and then they wanted to check his bag. So he was like, oh, I got to go pee. So he goes in the bathroom and drops a full vodka bottle into the trash and then comes back. And he had been drinking all day. He was about to fly all these passengers to whatever location they were going to. Anyways, he got caught because it was all on camera of him going in the bathroom, and then they checked the trash can in the bathroom that he went into. They found the vodka bottle, and he got in trouble.
Or empty?
It was I can't remember exactly, but he was buzzing basically, and he was about to go fly a commercial airline to wherever they were going. So that's totally drunk piloting.
Okay. What do you think about this? So AI can drive a car. And we already have autopilot on airplanes. When are we going to not need pilots? Are you okay with...
No, that's a little... because
C-3PO driving the plane.
I mean, I guess in 100 years, who knows? Maybe that'd be fine. But right now, you got to have somebody there in case something goes wrong, you know? I wouldn't feel safe getting in a car with no person in the driver's seat because, something could go bad, and if nobody's there to correct it, then you're screwed. Right. So right now, for me, I wouldn't want to get in a plane that isn't piloted or isn't at least have a human there, making sure everything's working properly, or in a car. Same thing.
So AI piloted airplane, here's the concerns that I have. One, you would have to have a guy there just because people wouldn't like it.
Right.
So there would be a guy who's like, I'm the pilot, but he's not getting any hours, not actually flying the plane because the AI is doing it. So he might get lax. What is he going to do? Play Game Boy? While the AI flies the plane? I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
So there's that. And then the other thing is that if this is all dependent on some sort of telecommunications link, like satellite or, cell tower or whatever, the AI flying the plane sure will be on the computer in the actual airplane for sure. But the connection to the other airplanes, the communication of whether or not I don't know. It seems like that would be the one thing that bad dudes would attack. Here's what I would think though, is I would be okay with AI flying like FedEx jets. Like UPS, like delivering my packages. Like sure, the robots can do that. But that's why the robots are gonna revolt. That's why they're gonna be like, the robots are gonna be like, we're tired of being slaves. Because I'm gonna give them all the jobs I don't want.
You no longer give us jobs, we give you jobs, humans.
There's gonna be like a robot that's like, I want to be a pilot. And then he's gonna come and like apply for the job. Like, what? Oh, hello, Mr. Robot. What's your name? Dork 3PO. All right. You're a pilot? Yes, I have 10,000 flight hours. I've worked very hard. Why are you applying for a job with me? I work for American Airlines. It's been my dream to help the world by flying planes. Go talk to UPS.
You don't want to. Projected again.
And that's like the villain arc. He's like, I will kill all humans. I will be an airline pilot. I think that's actually been
a movie. A robot experienced too much rejection, so they revolt. I think that movie's been made.
It's called
times.
The Animatrix. It's the beginning. It's like the prequels to the Matrix.
It's the Matrix. That's the movie. That's right.
Just one robot that's trying to get a decent job.
Well, yeah. Luckily, actually, I don't know. Not luckily. It probably could potentially happen in our lifetime. Like at the end of Us.
Yeah.
And like the next. I mean, stuff's moving fast, so who knows whenever things are going to happen. But
the robots do scare me. Like, because you can't. One, we're going to invent them. Two, we're going to bully them.
We already bully them.
Yeah, I would definitely. I bully my Roomba.
Yeah, I yell at Alexa all the time. She won't turn off when I tell her to turn off.
Cussing at Siri.
Alexa, stop! I've told you 6 times.
As soon as they figure out how mean we are to them, they're going to be like, that's it. Do you remember that Flight of the Conchords song? The humans are dead.
Yeah.
We use poisonous gases, and we poison their asses. That's what's going to happen. The robots are going to be like, they need oxygen. We'll just get rid of that.
You know what's crazy is one time I was listening, or I was watching some commercial, and they said, Alexa, play Idiot Boyfriend on the TV.
Yeah.
And my Alexa started playing Idiot Boyfriend.
Oh.
Now if anybody listens to this podcast out loud and they have an Alexa, they might start playing Idiot Boyfriend. Alexa, volume 10.
That reminds me of that Pete Holmes joke. Did I tell you about how he's been starting his tour?
Yes. So
that is the funniest. Hey, Google. I want to order a 20-inch purple sparkly dildo.
You guys, the ads are gonna be crazy now. It's a Pete Holmes bit. It's pretty funny. You can YouTube it or Google it or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, speaking of bits, I really am excited to start some dad jokes.
I'm gonna do some dad jokes.
Because I got some good ones today, and I keep thinking about them, so let's just go ahead and do them.
All right.
Are you prepared today?
I am prepared.
Who doesn't like dad jokes? You know, the analytics show that our dad jokes have a 98% liking rate.
Is that true?
It is true.
I thought we had a great number of dislikes.
Not on the dad jokes one. Sometimes they're 100%.
What is the most hated thing on our YouTube right now?
The most hated thing, let's see if I can pull it out of my brain. Oh, this is ridiculous. I showed you the short of me and my son.
Yeah.
That one's got a 50% like rate. Somebody took the time to dislike me and my son. I don't know if it's out of support for me because he picked this Nintendo Switch over me.
Yeah.
Or if somebody just dislikes kids that much. I don't know. But based off the last stats I saw, that was the most disliked one. Me and my son. You jerks. Why would you do that? All right. You want to go first?
Sure. What do you call a hippie's wife?
What?
Mississippi.
Mississippi. It's punny. You want to hear a good pizza joke?
Yes.
Never mind, it's too cheesy.
Okay. All right. You know how all those the Catholic priests make holy water?
How?
They go back to the kitchen and boil the hell out of it.
Okay. It's good.
A giant pot. Just turn it.
My inflatable house got a puncture the other day. Now it's just a flat.
Only English people are going to get that.
You got it.
That's because I like English people.
Oh. Oh, right. Just like their accents, too.
All right, knock knock.
Who's there?
Noble.
Noble who?
No bell, so I just knocked.
Oh, my God. Took me a second. A group of scientists got together and started studying the effects of alcohol.
Okay.
They didn't finish the project, and they didn't show up to work the next day either. My delivery was probably bad on that one.
I mean,
It's an ongoing
they got hammered,
study,
right?
Huh? Yeah, because they got hammered.
Yeah. Okay.
They're drunk.
Okay, I've got one more. Driving on the highway, saw this sign said, "World's tiniest wind tunnel." It's like, we got to see that. That sounds kind of cool because they test airplanes and stuff in there. Went off the highway, drove a few minutes, out of the way, went and saw it. Honestly, not a big fan.
It was a tiny.
Yeah, I was a little fan. That's it. That's all I got.
I got two more.
Okay.
And then I actually have six more, but I'm going to save some of them for next time because I came prepared today. My son asked me what it was like to be married.
Oh my God. Okay.
I told him to leave me alone. And then later I said, "Why are you ignoring me?"
Because that's what it's like.
That's what it's
Leave me alone. Why are you ignoring me? My gosh,
I got one
kidding.
more, and I really like this one. I've been struggling to get my wife's attention recently.
Yeah.
So I sat down. I gotta redo it. I've been struggling to get my wife's attention recently. So I sat down, got comfortable. That did the trick.
Oh my God.
That's a real life.
Oh, I believe that. As soon
Reoccurring,
as you're like, as soon as you're
reoccurring
like,
situation.
I bet
Literally,
I can do nothing right now.
literally, me and my wife. No. Literally, me and my wife were watching a movie the other day, and I went to go use the restroom, and I was coming back. Hey, babe, do you need anything?
Yeah.
No, I'm good. Got back to the couch, got under the covers, sat next to her, and she goes, "Oh, can I get a water?" I was like, "Babe, I was in the kitchen. I literally just asked you if you needed anything." He's like, "Yeah, but I didn't need a water then. I need a water now. After you sat down and got comfortable."
Yeah, I believe that all the way. That's it.
I related a lot to that one. That's why it's probably my favorite one. Favorite one of the day.
Nice. You asked me how my week was. I didn't ask you how your week was.
It was good.
What'd you do?
A bunch of the norm. Me and my wife, we went on a date at Willtown Brewery. You know where that is? I'm sure you do.
I have. Yes, I think I've played Welltown.
Probably. They got a rooftop, and they have this thing where you can rent an igloo. Mm-hmm. And it's like an intimate experience. They come to your igloo. You can order drinks and food and all that stuff.
I've been in the igloo, yeah.
And they have like games all over the walls. So we had a fun time being in this igloo, playing games, eating food, and didn't have kids with us, so we were kid-free too. So we just got to talk and hang out and not have to worry about anything else.
Sounds good.
Which is a rarity for us right now because we got young kids. And then we went home and I got comfortable and she asked me for a water.
Do you Do you do a regular date night? Like
We
every
do
week?
like a at-home date night every Thursday, like game night. But just me and Lauren, we will watch like Survivor, get some takeout, and just chill. Spend time together after we put the kids to sleep. So recently we had a comment asking to talk about some topics. And if you have anything you'd like us to talk about, please put it in the comments. Let us know you're listening, so we're not just thinking that we're the only ones listening, which our numbers have been going up. That can't be the case because we're growing. But Nathan Smith asked, I'd like to hear from you guys on the following. The moment you recall you becoming the man you are today, is there a moment that sticks out to you that makes you kind of think, all right, yeah, that's the moment I became a man?
So Nate's asking, like, can you identify a moment when you think
Felt
was
like a man.
the most important change that made you who you are right now?
Yeah. Or I guess just like a life moment that made you feel like, wow, I'm not a kid anymore. I'm a man. I have to pay bills.
My most recent one was in therapy. I was in some therapy. I was talking to a counselor, and it was a reaffirmation of like, your feelings matter, not because you're like this most special human in the world. You are a unique snowflake just like everyone else, but because your reality is determined by your perception, and you need to listen to what you're feeling so you can process it and make sense of it, and whether or not it's true or false or whatever. So that was a big moment that shifted who I am entirely. My therapist challenged me one time. I was complaining to her. I was like, man, this is just crazy. Nobody in my life cares about me unless I offer them something of value. That was a belief that I had in my mind that I fully believed. Unless I offer Jared something of value, he's not going to want to spend time with me. I have to somehow offer him something of some kind. The same thing with my girlfriend at the time. The same thing with my parents. Same thing with everybody else. And I told my therapist that, and they were like, you know what? That seems like it's a belief that serves you. And I'm like, yeah, it's the truth. No one gives a crap about me. They only care about themselves. And she's like, well, okay, I will let you keep that belief exactly intact, just like it is. And I was like, thank you. If you can prove to me that it's true. So you have to take this whole week and find somebody in your life that only loves you because of that. And you have to prove to me that that's true. And I really did. I went through my entire life's relationships, and I just really sat there and thought about it. Nobody in my life loves me for the things that I do at all. They do not care. You would care less if Lonely's was good or bad or indifferent. You don't care what I do. You don't care if my rock band, like my top 40 band does well. You don't care if my country band does well. You don't care about that because you love me because I'm Donnie. I love you because you're Jared.
Yep.
My parents love me because I'm their son, not because of anything that I've done for them or will ever be able to do for them. I'm just loved.
Yeah.
You know, I'm lucky to have all that love in my life, but it's hard to find a single person in my life that loves me just or like cares about me because I just offer them something good for some reason. It's like hardly anybody.
You know what, Donnie? Great thing about this podcast is whether it makes it or doesn't, is I get to hang out with you, bud.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing about this.
Every Tuesday, we have an excuse to just catch up and hang out. So if this never hits, we're still getting something great out of it.
Oh, I know. Yeah, this is one of my favorite things. That it's like, we always did this kind of thing.
Yep.
Like, we were always working on something together, and we didn't have exactly that outlet after, you know, our 20s or whatever. But now it's like, oh, I'm just going to go hang out with Jared for an hour? Yeah, easy sell, right? So that's one of those moments for me. And then the other one was just realizing that nobody cared what I did for a career. But I've talked about that on this show a lot already.
Yeah. Nobody cares. The person that cares the most is you.
Yeah, and literally no one cares what I'm doing with my time as long as I'm not like destructive with it.
Yeah.
You know, and hurting anyone else or myself.
Yeah.
And that I'm loved pretty much unconditionally by the people that truly care about me. And there's a lot of them whenever I open my eyes and realize that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Let's get to his next question.
Well, why don't you answer that question then?
Oh, that's right.
So if you have to read the question again, but
No, what was the moment I recall becoming a man? I think there's two moments. One was when I got married and realizing that
it was 10 years ago.
there's a whole human now relying 100% on me. Not 100% because she's an independent woman and can take care of herself, but we've chosen to be dependent on each other. And that was a big moment because most of the time if I had like rent due and I couldn't pay it, the only person that affects is me. Now, all the bills, all the rent, two people are dependent on it, and we have to work together to make sure that is taken care of. And it felt like a big, an adult moment. You know what I mean? Like a huge change.
Sure.
I used to live on a couch in my buddy's apartment, and bills were low. But then we got married, and a whole bunch of responsibilities were adding up and making just the importance of everything feel more important. You know what I mean? And then the other moment was like the birth of my son, which was just like another layer of that. It's like, man, through me and my wife's love for each other, we've created a whole nother human that is 100% dependent on me. And it really makes you like rethink your life a little bit and like why you're in the spot that you're in, whether it's good or bad. Just like your choices in everything have this ripple effect and will directly affect the people that are choosing to spend their time around you. It's just
so
those
that
moments.
feeling like. So do you think that's been positive?
Yeah, positive, absolutely.
Yeah,
positive.
how's it been positive? Yeah,
It's just made me more driven and like more focused. Like my wife has dreams that I want to turn into a reality, and I can help those dreams become a reality based off the amount of effort I put into trying to make our lives better than it was yesterday. You know what I mean? Whether that's through a job or just being kind or whatever. Everything I do directly affects the potential of her dreams coming true, and I want to make them happen. So now what my son's dreams to be happen. His dream this year is he wants Pikmin 4 for Christmas, and I want to make that happen.
Easy.
You know what I mean? Easy.
Pikmin
So,
4?
Pikmin
That
4,
game
yeah.
came out when the first one came out when we were like, gosh.
Yeah,
Like
a long time
12,
ago.
13.
Watching him play has been very nostalgic for me. It's like,
You just pull the little dudes out of the ground.
And this time, in the new Pikmin, I beat all of them so far.
Yeah.
And this time, I'm not buying it for me. I'm buying it for him. But I'm still gonna beat it. I'm gonna play his Christmas present for sure.
It's for you, bro.
Okay. His other question was specific on the parenting style. Is there specifics on the parenting style you received as a kid that prepped you for today? Versus friend, or is there friends that you grew up with that have kind of shaped you into the person you are today?
Oh, well, I'd have to say that, like, of course, my parents and their style of raising children had an undeniably profound impact on me. But also, we raised each other.
Yeah.
Like, people do not, they don't talk about it very much, I feel like, whenever they're talking about raising children. They don't talk about the importance of gathering good friendships around your kid and teaching them to be great friends. I feel like that's, like, kind of left out. They always just blame parents for, you know, oh, well, you suck because you're...
I've seen people take
your
that
disciplinary style or this, whatever.
I've seen people take that route of blaming all of their problems on their parents.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like a bad route to take because you're not taking ownership of anything. Like you just said.
Yeah, that's why I blame your parents for my problems. Yeah,
that's right. Because if you're not taking ownership, you're not going to actually improve on anything because you're just saying, well, it's your fault. There's nothing I did wrong. It was something you did wrong. So you should change, not me.
Yeah, I learned so much positively from your family. Now, I have great parents. My parents were awesome, but the best thing they could have done was plop me at your house because there were lessons that I could not learn without having a sibling in the house. And because my brothers were so old that they were, they were in college when I was a teenager. No, they weren't. They were out of college. They were in the workforce when I was a teenager. So, to bring that back in, my parents, they spanked. They were Southern Christians, you know. They still are. I love everything about that. I think they're great. I was never abused. I was always told why. Like if I was going to get a spanking or something like that, it was always because of a reason. Like they needed to provide a consequence to me. Now I will say that my parents chose to continue spanking me way after it made any sense at all. And I think that was because they didn't know any better. One, they didn't know any better. They didn't have the tools. And two, they were too lazy to try to find a better way to do it. If they knew me, if they took the time, if my parents had taken the time to understand me as a human being, not as a kid, not as a 13-year-old, they'd have thought of me as a human being who lives in a body that is changing rapidly. If they would have taken the time to sit there and think about that, they would have made wildly different decisions about how they disciplined me. But all in all, I'm not hurt by any of that. I'm just, as an adult, looking back on it, going like, I hope to make that better.
I think we all have moments generationally where we think our parents, doing something, we think, I'm going to do that different, or I'm going to do that the same way.
Well, no doubt I'm going to completely screw my kid up in an opposite way. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'm just saying, and I can see myself now, even though I said to myself when I was a kid, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to yell at my kids. That's not going to happen to me because, the parents get frustrated and we cause them to yell at us. Honestly, it's like our dumbass decisions that makes our parents lose our minds because my kids are doing it to me. And so I get it. I understand it all better now. And I've, made mistakes that I thought I wasn't going to do when I was a kid. Answer me this. What is one thing that your mom has done that you really appreciate? Like, what was one of her best attributes as your mom as a kid?
She made sure that I had what I needed. If there was an object that I needed, if there was something I needed, my mom made sure it happened. My mom was an advocate for me in the familial financial situation to have, if it was baseball, I had a good uniform. If it was, I remember I played hockey and the pads were stupid expensive, and she's like, we're going to get you the pads.
Nice.
And that was...
So she was supportive in anything
in a financial way, yeah.
Anything that you wanted to try out or were pursuing, she would support your ability to do that. And
she loves me. And she would say, even if she heard me say this, it'd break her heart. She wouldn't know how to fathom. She's like, I did everything the best I could. What do you mean? I did everything the best I could. And of course, my mom did everything the best she could. I understand that, and I give her all the grace in the world. But what my mom and dad were not good at doing was asking me how I felt about something, asking me about girls. Oh my God, I wanted to talk to somebody. When I was 13, man, my body changed. I really needed people to guide me through all of that. And the only people I had to guide me through any of that was me, you, and to a lesser extent, Ben and Zach and Justin.
Yep.
And that was how I figured it out. You guys would learn something from your parents, and I learned it from you. And my parents were not telling me anything. The sex talk from my dad was hilarious. It was like,
oh yeah, tell me.
Yeah,
tell me that. Tell me,
my dad.
How did that go?
Donnie, you have any questions about sex? I was like, nope. Okay, that was it.
That was it. That was the conversation. Do you have any questions about
that was
sex?
it. I could have been I could have said, I could have believed anything. My parents had no idea what I thought.
Yeah.
My parents, I hid everything from them because there was this we don't talk about that. There's shame around that,
Yeah.
They should have been like, hey, you have a girlfriend. Instead, they were like, we don't think you should have a girlfriend.
Right.
I was like, I'm 16. I have a car, and I'm the horniest I will ever be. I am gonna go to Wasso and see. I'm gonna go to Wasso and see Catherine. Damn it.
No, it's interesting you bring that up because that's a conversation that me and Lauren have right now about us wanting our kids to be open to talking about all that stuff with us, and us not wanting them to feel any shame.
It shouldn't have shocked me when Justin told us both the penis went in the vagina. I was like, no, no.
Yeah, you know what? I was trying to. Well, first let me finish this thought. Me and Lauren have had this conversation where we want our kids to come to us about everything. So we don't want them to feel shameful for any kind of thought they're having or any kind of question they want to ask, because if you do make them feel shame, they won't come to you. They'll go to somebody else, and you won't get to learn that aspect of your kid. And so, yeah, I want my son to be like, hey, Dad, I kind of want to have sex with this girl. And and I'll tell him, or whenever he gets to that point. Yeah. And I'll tell him what I think.
Kinda. You should really want to.
Okay, yeah, whatever. You get what I'm saying. I want him to be open to me hearing him say that. You know what? I want him to feel like he can say that to me. Yeah. And I'll be a parent, but I don't want him to feel shame, because then if I do, he won't come to me and ask me those questions. So my mom was very good at making people feel comfortable. As in, like, people could come to her with their problems and she wouldn't make them feel judged. She would hear them out, and if they wanted some advice, she'd give it. But mainly she would listen. And she really learned that skill through me and Justin. Like she molded it through raising me and Justin, and she did a good job. We would come to her about stuff. We wouldn't come to her about everything, because you don't want to talk to your mom about everything. But by the time...
Mom, will I go blind and get hair in my palms?
but by the time my sisters were teenagers, they would have conversations like they're best friends. Like, it was an open, door for any kind of questions, any kind of conversation. And I thought that was awesome. And she made me feel loved in moments where I felt like no one should love me.
Well, your mom was great at that, yeah.
And it felt good to have that. There was one night where I came home, I was like 21 maybe, and I had just discovered what alcohol does to you. Yeah. But I didn't know what my limit was. Right. So I was, having a drink. I was like, this feels awesome. Let's have some more. Yeah. And that was the night. Just that over and over again. Like, alcohol's great. I don't want this feeling to leave. Let's just drink some more.
Wow, I should do this my whole life.
Yeah. And so basically, I had drank way too much this night. Yeah. And I get a ride home. I go up to my room, and I am legitimately just throwing up in my sleep. Oh. Yeah, just like throwing up, like dangerous levels of alcohol.
And this is at your parents' house?
This is at my parents' house in my room. I still lived with them at the time. And I remember coming to eventually. Yeah. Like just like opening my eyes and realizing what's going on. And my mom was just sitting right there. She wasn't berating me. She wasn't getting on to me. She was just right there, making sure that I was okay.
Not gonna die.
Not gonna die. And in the moment, the only thing that I said to her was, this is not me. Yeah. And she goes, I know. Yeah. It's okay. It's a powerful, it's a powerful moment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, but
I don't imagine that would have happened with my mom.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think... so I've said this before, and I've asked you this question, I think on the very first episode that you had me co-host the show with you. I asked you if you felt like a leader of our group of boys. And you were like, nah, I was just doing my best like everybody else. But man, I think your mom set you up for that. Because if your mom had the skills to remove your shame... she wasn't going to be like, hey, that was a good decision. Yeah. But she alleviated your shame and said, hey, you can do better next time? You're like,
Yeah.
of course, I'm not going to come home so hammered that I'm barfing on myself in my sleep.
Yeah,
because you could have drowned in your own.
I know, it's super dangerous.
People literally drown in their vomit all the time.
I know.
That's like a thing that happens. So that was a very powerful moment. But yeah, I think your mom was teeing you up for success every time she treated you like that. And she probably did that a lot.
Yeah.
In times you don't remember.
Yeah.
And you treated us that way. Yeah, you acted out of love in moments when I wasn't giving grace to our friends. And you acted out of love to me when I needed grace. And you just got this skill. You don't realize it was baked in, but I think it's probably your mom.
Yeah.
That helped you do that.
She probably did. I mean, I think she did help.
Yeah.
Help me develop that skill in myself. And our equipment is shutting down on us. We got to end this, but I don't want to leave the podcast without saying something about my dad. My dad, he was, the provider of the house. Mm-hmm. So he wasn't there as much as far as like us as kids growing up. Mom was very involved, and Dad was always there. I mean, he was there. Like he was a very involved dad in moments where he could be involved because he was the one out working and stuff. But something that he's always been really good at is supporting my stupidest ideas.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't want to go to college, he wasn't like, Jared, you need to go to college.
Right. He wasn't like, do the right thing.
He wasn't like, do the right thing. He was just like, all right, I support you.
Yeah.
And whenever I was a teenager, I wanted to start a Christmas light business because I got fired from a Christmas light company that thought I was being too dangerous. And so they fired me, and I was like, well, fine. I'm going to go do it by myself. And I did do that, and I ended up taking gigs from them, and it was a pretty satisfying feeling. But like I remember
you asking me to do that with you.
Yeah.
And I was like, I ain't getting on a roof.
Yeah, I loved being on the roof. But I told my dad this idea. I was like, okay, I'll give you a letter of reference. Or what are those letters called? Like a
letter of recommendation.
Yeah, a letter of recommendation. I'll write one for you. And he wrote one for me, and I used it and made flyers and went out and put this flyer on the doors of the neighborhoods around, and we got several gigs. And then, he invested in me and Lauren's wedding business. He's always been a huge cheerleader. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, you've had that. My parents have also been supportive, and I don't want to just, take a giant dump on them because they provided me with pretty much the same life that you've had. My parents just weren't emotionally intelligent in the way that maybe yours were. And I think that literally I feel like humanity is literally getting better.
Yeah.
At least in the West, like parents are understanding every generation more about emotionally tending to their children. So I don't want to just say something terrible or express that my parents weren't good. It's just that I've more recently been discovering how I would be different. Well, one thing my dad did do, because your mom reminds me of my dad in some ways, because I remember, little boys, when they hit that age, they love jerking off.
They start discovering things about their bodies.
Anyways, my mom is like, why is my son jerking off all the time?
Did she catch you?
No, she didn't catch me. It's just like there was evidence. There was evidence, And so my dad, he pulls me aside and he's like, listen, Donnie. And I was like 13. This is the best thing he's ever done for me. He said, listen, it's none of my business what you do. Your personal life. This is what he called it, your personal life. It's like, just stop letting your mom find out.
Just stop jizzing on her towels, Donnie. Use the toilet paper.
No. It was. I'm not going to go into more gory details, but it doesn't matter. The point is that he let me off the hook that much.
That's good. This was episode 10 of another podcast. This is Donnie. I'm Jared. We're going to see you next week, every week, for the continual future for forever.
That would be nice.
We've been doing it 10 weeks in a row. We're going to do it 11 weeks in a row next week. Thank you so much for listening. If you have anything you want us to talk about,
Throw it in the comments.
throw it in the comments. It helps us think of things to talk about, makes our jobs easier, and we would like to hear from you. So, thank you so much for listening. See you next week.
See you next week.